He's the great one. You know him from JeffersonGraham.com. That's his parent website, and he is Jefferson Graham. Hi, Jefferson Graham.
How you doing?
You had talked about putting the show online before
three weeks ago?
Yeah.
3 weeks ago?
When we were still on KGO, you talked about that. By the way, the KGO and Exile t-shirts are on sale at getmarkmerch.com. You can support the show, and you can live the rebellion, my friends. That's right. But you had talked about it, Jeff, and I said, I don't know. Is there a way you could come by, maybe show me how it worked? I mean, that, as it turns out, was where we were headed. We just didn't even realize it.
I can't believe you put this together in such a short period of time. I mean, what is it, 4 weeks ago? You were going to D.C. When were you going to D.C.?
Yeah, I guess that was about a month ago, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then here you are, and you've got guests here, and you've got Super Chat already. Yeah. I mean, you need 10,000 subscribers to get the Super Chat, so you already hit the magic number?
Well, this is really, I'm so glad you mentioned this, because this involves everybody who's watching right now and everybody who supports us on an ongoing basis. We wouldn't be able to pull this all together were it not for the support of the audience. And that seems like one of those things that people say, but it's really true here. This is a community of people. And the reason that I wanted to move over so quickly is because I didn't want to lose that community. Things change so quickly in this life. KGO goes dark, and that audience begins to scatter. And they began to scatter already, and they still go, people are even suggesting, why don't you advertise on KGO? KGO's gone. There is no KGO anymore. They've turned it into a gambling station, which is their right to do. I'm not, they own the station. They can do whatever they want with it. But what I'm saying is the only way we could reconstitute it was to do it quickly. So to your point, we brought this community over and we felt we had to do it quickly. So Tony's been really instrumental, our tech guy, and he's been so helpful. John Daly and I have both been working overtime. Kim's been working overtime as well, and her husband has been throwing in. He's a kind of a techie. So it's been a real, it takes a village type thing situation. So that's how it happened so quickly.
But to do some of the perks that you're talking about, you need to have a minimum of 10,000 subscribers and like 4,000 hours of watch time and all this crazy stuff. But you hit it already in just a few weeks.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and we need to grow it more. We need to pay salaries for everybody on the show. I'm not taking any money on the show right now because we're trying to just keep John and Tony and Kim. I'm trying to keep everybody in the economic ecosphere happy and living with a livelihood that sustains them. So we need to continue to expand it. That's why we come up with the merch stuff. So we're always thinking and working, and we have to always sort of be. For me, I've never worked so hard. It's a real life project.
This is great, but you're learning something new every day. You're learning. I mean, when you started in broadcasting, the idea of doing what you're doing right now, it would just like be totally foreign. Hey, kids, let's put on a show, and I'll just go do it, and I'll do it, and people will come in via the internet. I mean, it was unheard of. You couldn't even imagine anything like this, right?
Sure, that's exactly right. In fact, when they go ahead, Kim.
Would I rather work for Cumulus or would I rather work for Mark Thompson? I'm going Mark Thompson.
There you go. Thank you very much. I mean, it's a...
Don't talk to me that way.
For legal reasons, I can't say a single negative thing about Cumulus.
Right. I don't think you should speak to about Cumulus that way. I don't know the... right. Look, sadly, and I made this point before, and it'll probably be made again, the local administrators, managers at KGO, they didn't want the station to go away. They didn't, and they were great to me. They never told me anything I couldn't say or do. I mean, think about that. I was there, how long were we on the air? 3.5 years, John?
Something like that, yeah.
Never, imagine that, Jeff. Not one thing. Like, hey, a little fewer drops, or maybe do more politics, or a little less politics. Never. And that's really cool.
They did tell me what I couldn't say at USA Today when I was there. So there.
Is that right? They did. Yeah, you were the tech writer at USA Today for a long time.
For multiple decades, yes. And a few times they told me about what I could say and what I couldn't say. So.
Wow, that's pretty... Could you even hint?
I will tell you.
Yeah,
when I did
hint
my
at what they...
podcast,
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I did my podcast every day, and it was a daily show, 7 days a week. Imagine that. And they've said, well, we want to know what your topics are in ahead of time. And I said, I have no idea until the night before. And they said, well, you need to tell us. And I said, yeah, right. Okay, fine. I just never told them because I didn't know. I recorded it every night at 9 o'clock. But in general, they did have a few no-nos and a few, but they were pretty good to me. But
yeah, I mean, sometimes the no-nos are fine. And by the way, I'm not above taking notes on my show. It's not like I think everything I do is, and sometimes I'll do something and I'll go, that didn't really work the way I'd hoped it would or whatever. Usually I'm pretty honest with the audience. I'll say, yeah, we tried that, but it didn't really work out that well. But I respected them for not meddling too much because it's very hard to germinate anything if you're being meddled with all the time. So
but they didn't call you every week or every month and say, let's go over the numbers and let's grow those numbers and why aren't they growing the way they should be and all that sort of stuff that station managers like to ask?
They actually sent us regular ratings reports, and our ratings weren't bad. We first of all, our ratings soared initially, and then continued tracking up, and we'd get those mailings, right, John? Isn't that what we and Kim, you got them also?
Yeah.
And so the reality was that they were pretty communicative, but not in the way that you're suggesting, which is, let's look at these numbers and let's look at how we can get more women 50 plus or whatever. They break down the demographics and then they start to manage content based on the demographic they want to hit. That's would be typically what Jefferson's talking about.
But the person sharing that information with us was not in the loop on this transaction.
Right.
But
That's right.
You were the one chosen to make the announcement about historic KGO no longer being KGO. You of all people got to break the news.
It was but it wasn't even breaking the news. I don't know if you it was so effed up because and I won't bore you with the story, but just in like 60 seconds or less, I'll just tell you that they told me right before I went on. I didn't know the night before. I didn't know, right before I went on. And the two top guys called me.
5 minutes till 9?
Yeah.
5
But when the
minutes
two,
till 9?
to 10. But when the two top guys call me, I know something bad's going to happen. I said, uh-oh, this is bad. That was my first thing I said. And they said, yeah, it's not a good day. I'm afraid today. And then they said, I can't now. It's something to the effect that we're going to have to.
Dead.
KGO is going away. Something like that.
Can I just give you a flip? I would just want to give you a flip positive story. So when I was at USA Today, the top editor sent me an email and said, are you available to chat? I want to talk to you. And I said, oh boy, I am screwed. This is terrible. And I started sending notes around, why does he want to talk to me? And my editor said, I have no idea. So then he calls me and he says, you're there? Are you sitting down? And I said, yeah, I'm sitting down. Go for it. He goes, I want to give you a bonus. You're doing such a great job. So
that never happened.
Was I shocked?
At KGO.
I know. Never happened.
Yeah. Bonus was not allowed to even be mentioned.
We had a bit of a tip off the night before because they sent out a mass email to everybody at the end of business saying that there was a budget meeting, and we've never been involved in budgets, so some of us kind of figured it out the night before.
Yeah, we knew. John mentioned that to me the night before, and we knew something bad was going to. We thought something bad, but then they'd already cut so many people. We didn't know how they were going to make any additional.
And we had
cuts.
said that morning, yeah, let's book this person if KGO exists past lunchtime.
We were doing some graveyard humor like that. Yeah. It was gallows humor for sure.
So who did you have to call and say, we're not putting you on the air because there is no show?
Unfortunately, I couldn't even reach people because they locked me out of my corporate email. So I couldn't cancel future guests.
But this is a good question. This is a good little this is a good guest trivia question. This is a good trivia question for this show. Who had to be contacted on the last day to let them know the station wasn't on the air anymore? Does anybody remember?
Vincent Patterson was originally scheduled for 10:30.
That's right. It was Vincent Patterson. That's right. Vincent Patterson wrote a book called Icons and Instincts, and it's terrific. And we had him on, Jeff, in one of the first shows we did after the radio station went away. He's got stories of, he's a choreographer for Michael Jackson, for Madonna, for Van Halen, and it goes on and on and on. For the biggest names, Diana Ross.
You made the announcement on Thursday morning, right? So Wednesday, in the 11:30 to 12 o'clock hour, who was your last final guest on KGO?
Oh, that is a great question, too. Who is the last guest that we spoke with on KGO? I feel like John and myself, and maybe Kim, you would note this. I think this is a knowable thing. Let's just think for a moment. The last
It would have
guest
been
on-
Wednesday, right? Who are our Wednesday regulars?
Right, that's what I'm trying to think. Wednesday is Jeremy B. White, usually,
Yeah.
but he's in the first hour.
But there are no regulars in the 11:30 segment.
There are no regulars, but...
Well,
I
except
gave
for
the
Belinda.
last newscast on KGO.
No,
I
Belinda's
just realized
Thursday.
that.
Yeah.
Belinda's
But
Thursday.
in generally speaking, there are no regulars.
We had to call Belinda, too. Vincent and Belinda both on the Thursday. I don't know. John, do you know the answer?
I don't think we had a guest at 11:30.
We may not have had a guest.
Well, then you had a guest between 11 and 11:30.
Yeah. The last guest on KGO is the good question. That would have to have been Jeremy B. White, maybe, if Jeremy was there. Anyway, this is interesting. Maybe one of the audience knows. If one of the audience knows, I'll feel we should send them from the Get Mark merch site, maybe a KGO and Exile t-shirt. If you remember the last guest on my show, it would be, as Jefferson says, the Wednesday before the Dark Thursday. Let us know.
Dark Thursday. Yeah.
But I do want I want to be clear about something, Jeff. They didn't want me to announce anything. They just had me do my regular show, and I pleaded with them. I said, I really did. I took 2 different runs at them. I think you'll appreciate it. I said, hey, look, station has been in this community for so long. I think we owe them just a goodbye to say the station's going away. Even I can keep it simple. I'll keep it short. They said, well, we understand that. We've thought about this, but we think that we're going to get a lot of blowback anyway. Let's just end, let's just end it this way. Do it the way we discussed it, which is you do your regular show, you'd hit the ID, and you're done. I said this. Let me do it with a goodbye and explain what's going on, and I'll spin it positively. I'll say there's an exciting new format coming to KGO. I mean, I'm thinking in the moment, like any way I can let the audience know what's happening, because it's going to be weird, man. They told me to do 9 minutes of my show, hit a KGO San Francisco, a Cumulus station, and then I just turn my microphone off, and that's the end of it. And that's what they wanted. And so I tried that, and they said, no, we understand. And they're worried about, somebody going rogue, clearly. And the corporation, the company, really wanted it done that way. So you have no...
Well, you have the guy
choice.
at Channel 5, KTLA in Los Angeles, who went rogue when he apologized on behalf of the managers for not letting an anchor who quit to come on and say goodbye. And his mouth ran overtime, and he got fired, and he'll probably never work in TV again. And they thought, not saying that you were going to do that, but you could have done that, and you could have gone berserk in front of the microphone, right?
No, and it wouldn't be the first time, as you say. So I also understand it from their perspective. I know that's a weird thing to say, but I really, if they look around, as Jeff says, at different situations where people have been, I'll tell you one other one. My friend was the stage manager, guy I went to school with, at WLS TV in Chicago. They're a huge station, ABC station at WLS. And the weather guy was a guy named Steve Deschler, And Steve Deschler had an offer to do the CBS morning news. He was going to go do network news at CBS, but he was under contract at WLS, the ABC-owned station in Chicago. And they wouldn't let him out of his contract to go do CBS This Morning, or whatever they were calling it then, Good Morning at CBS or whatever. They changed the name of that show all the time on CBS. So it was obviously lucrative, and he wanted that network thing. It's the brass ring type deal. And he'd had multiple conversations with management, as had his representatives, and they would not let him out of his contract with WLS. So on the 11 o'clock news, he goes on, tossed to weather. Well, it's another chilly night, in Chicagoland, and, let's check out temperatures. And he's now standing in front of the map after he crosses on that little wrap. And he begins to say this. I've been given an offer to go to the CBS television network to do the CBS Morning News, and WLS management will not let me out of my contract. And I've gone to them repeatedly. He essentially explains it, but he has about 30 seconds to do it before they just go to black and go to commercial, okay? And my pal is running the floor. He's the floor manager, which is why I know this story. And he walked over to him, and as Steve was continuing to talk, and he just leaned over and he said, Steve, we're in commercial now. And they ultimately did let him go to CBS after that rant on the air. But what you're talking about, which is that somebody goes rogue like that, or like the example you gave of that guy just happened a couple of months ago, not even 2 months ago in Los Angeles, I guess that's the thing that management worries about. So they give, very specific orders to someone like me, just do it this way and don't tell the audience anything, even though that makes me sick to go out that way.
But could the headlines have been any worse? Had you gone rogue? Had you called them all sorts of names? Had it could been? I mean, it's not like they get any positive press out of what they did.
No, but I think they think of it this way, and there's no way to know ahead of time. They think we're going to take blowback anyway because we're taking away a beloved station. So just take it without explanation, without farewell. You don't have to worry about going rogue. You don't have to worry about your host going on some jihad on the air. You just get off the air and the audience wonders what happened, and you're going to get that blowback anyway, as I say. I think that's the way they did the arithmetic.
There are a lot of lawyers in Atlanta.
Yeah, I do think it came from on high. It definitely came from on high. So,
yeah.
But anyway, this audience, those who know, there are a lot. Yeah, I was going to say, there are a lot of people who don't know that we're over here. I mean, they just, we just dropped them off at the curb, and they don't know when the next bus is coming. Oh, it doesn't run through here anymore. No, it's okay. You got to catch a different bus. It's blocks away. So
you're in a better place. You're in the future, and we just have to do a better job of letting everybody know where the show is. Thank you.
That's so true. Jeff at JeffersonGraham.com. You can get links to all of his stuff. You're going to overseas? Are you going to shoot some stuff over there?
I am. I'm going to Paris on Sunday. I'm going to do 4 episodes in France. I have a travel photography series on YouTube, and I'm going to show you some of the best places to photograph in the City of Lights, weather permitting. But if the weather's bad, I'll shoot in the rain. What do I care? The iPhone is water resistant and does amazing stuff in the rain and in bright light as well. So I'm really looking forward to going. And so look for those episodes actually in December, because they'll premiere, I think, December 2nd or 3rd.
It's funny, you on your Photo Walk site, you asked those who are visitors to the site and subscribers to Photo Walks and beyond, you asked them, and just to anybody who visited this site, as I say, you asked them for their opinion as to what you should take to Paris on this trip, on this photo trip. So what did you decide upon?
Well, no, I asked, should I take my laptop or not? What do you think? Can you go away for 2 weeks without your laptop? Because I don't want to take it. It's heavy. I've got enough stuff to carry around with me. It's a $2,000 machine. I don't want to have to worry about losing it. And what do you think? Could you go 2 weeks without the computer? And I'd say pretty much 60% said leave it at home. Get an iPad. Get one of those new iPads like Mark has. That's what they said. Yeah,
I did get the new iPad.
Yeah. And be sure to get one
this
with
new
a keyboard.
iPad. Right, and you can stream on these things too. The one thing you can do on your laptop, which I don't know if that you can do as effectively or as comfortably on that, the iPad, is the editing that you need to do.
Right, but I don't need to edit the videos.
Jefferson, I did my round-the-world trip in 9 months with only my iPhone.
Yeah, and
fabulous producer John Daly.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm bringing in my mobile photography bag, I'm bringing 6 cameras. 6 of them. I've got 2 little Insta360s, and I don't have a GoPro on my desk here. I've got 3 iPhones, actually 2 iPhones, and then 2 GoPros. So that's what I'm bringing with me.
Now tell me why you go with 6, and tell me please if you recommend. You go ahead. Yeah, why 6?
Okay, I own them. I already have them. So I have two Insta360 cameras. This is my favorite travel camera because there's a lens on this side and a lens on this side, and it's looking.
Hold that closer. Hold that. I want to see that, please, Tony. Can you make? Let me just see that. No, that one. There you go. That's an Insta360.
Yes, a lens on both sides. See that?
This you've talked about on this show before. That
Right.
thing you've talked about on this show before.
And it goes forward and backwards. And in post-production, when I'm editing on my computer, I can choose the shot, and I usually shoot both shots. So I did a series on the cable cars in San Francisco, looking forward, and then I'm dangling from the cable car, taking pictures at the same time. So I have two of these. So when one runs out of battery, I just reach in and pick up the other one because I already own them.
I see.
Okay. Then the iPhones, I have several of them. I'm talking to you on an iPhone right now. Boom. That's an iPhone as my webcam, but it will be in the bag. So I like to use them. One is my main video camera when I'm in Paris, and then the other one to shoot time lapses, to be ready for time lapse videos, which is when the world goes flying by really fast. And
So you shoot the time lapse. You shoot the time lapse in the iPhone time lapse setting. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
in a tripod. In a tripod, you just press record and let it run, and then I can use the other phone to take pictures. Chris,
How long will that time lapse run?
it depends on how long I run it. If I run it for an hour, I might get a minute. If I run it for 30 minutes, I might get half a minute.
Can you run it for 2 hours?
Sure, you can run it all night long.
You can run it for as long as you want.
Yes.
Why don't you just text it?
On the text line in YouTube, you can join the chat. We're talking to Jefferson Graham, Photo Walks, a tech expert, and he's about to head to France. And he's going to take the
Chris has a question.
about the guitar.
ES125, a Gibson ES125. Thank you for asking. I've had it for many years. And then Lisa says she's a fan of the show. So you know what that means? That means I'm a fan of Lisa.
It's JeffersonGraham.com. Yeah, he knows. He knows.
Yeah.
Smash the like button for Jefferson Graham.
Smash it with your iron rod.
With your iron rod, give it the thumbs up. The great Jefferson Graham. We love it when you visit. We'll see you when you come home.
Well, let's do it more frequently now that we can be online. And right? Hey,
yeah. Oh, this is one of Jeff's photo walks. Take a look. This is the cable car thing that he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. Those who are watching, you can see it.
Personal best. It was my personal best, I think.
Really cool. I mean, I love those POV things.
That's the 360 footage
right
from the front of the cable car.
Going toward the Transamerica building in the distance, and it's.
And there I am, the back of the camera.
Jefferson Graham, host of PhotoWalksTV.com. And the YouTube series also exists in so many other platforms. JeffersonGraham.com is where you can find all of it. Jefferson Graham, everybody. What do you think? Yes. Thanks, Jeff. Have a great trip. Safe trip.
Thanks, Lisa.
Okay.
Thanks, Kim.